Welcome. For those of you that came early, I'm sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties and I had to reset the stream. But thank you all for joining me again to another installment. This is the Black Critique Channel. My name is Kofi, and I said I was going to do another stream yesterday. I'm able to pull it off today. So that's some good news there. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, as well as comment. I don't ask for Cash App. I'm not grifting. I'm not trying to make money off of this. I'm really more about spreading the information that as I see fit, especially when misinformation is being dealt out from a disingenuous, unreliable, biased, anti-black source, which brings us to our topic today. So you're going to see in the title says lying fake Pan African versus the truth of Jasmin Crockett. So that's I'm specifically talking about Brandon from so-called Pan Africanism Strikes Back. For those of you who don't know, is not a real Pan African. He is more of a Pan Republican, ultra MAGA black dude, but his cowardness is he's very cowardly about. He does not promote that, right? But he will defend that. He won't promote that physically. Saying he won't wear that on his sleeves. What I mean by that is saying he would not. He's using Pan African as a grift, so he could draw black people in, and then do the old switcheroo and try to turn them into have them be anti-black and just go to Republican Party which is anti-black, which goes into self-loathing, self-deprivation, and try to mask that as being Pan-African or making progress as as some way as a race. It's very hypocritical and extremely confusing. So that's who we're talking about right now today, and this is basically you're going to see the hypocrisy that he has. So for those of you who don't know who Jasmin Crockett is, the congresswoman that was there in during the sham waste of time impeachment trial, and she pretty much exposed everybody, all the Republicans there that was pretty much a part of this sham impeachment proceeding. So yeah, she made news. So Brandon is gonna comment about, he's just gonna slander her. She's a black woman, and he's just, I'm not even sure he's even gonna go after her like that. But you know what? I'm not gonna give it away. We're gonna see. So we're just gonna get right into it right now, and I'm basically gonna show you his take on everything here as far as like the impeachment. So he says black Democrats defend Biden family crimes. Where is Yvette Carnell? I'm not even care about Yvette Carnell right now. She's pretty much a non-factor. I'm just talking about the big dogs right now, people who have actual political power. So him and I may agree on the Yvette Carnell thing, but small potatoes right now. So I'm gonna let you tell his side of it. But you know what I'm gonna do? I hmm, I may show you the truth before you guys hear the lies. So you're gonna hear the lies and misinformation. So what I'm gonna do? So I'm gonna play a little bit. I'm gonna see how it goes, and I may just show you the truth. But let's see how it goes first. So I'm gonna let him say his piece.
Side, and he had a great show the other day talking about Joe Biden's crimes.
Sean Hannity.
There's overwhelming evidence that, contrary to what Joe Biden said on the debate stage, contrary to what he said to the media time and time again, Joe Biden, Joseph Robinette Biden, did in fact have involvement with his son's business dealings with foreign entities and foreign nationals. Now, the overwhelming evidence is being presented to the public with the impeachment hearing, and it is damning evidence. We're going to start from the beginning. We're going to speed it up a little bit just so for the sake of time. But when you leave here, what you will understand today is that Joe Biden is guilty of high crimes against this country. What will become abundantly clear to all.
So he's using Hannity, Sean Hannity, and Fox News. So you ready? No, not saying that all news media is credible in that sense, as far as like they don't tell the truth or bend the truth, right? But as far as that goes, Fox News is the most unreliable, huge propaganda machine. And like Kofi, what you mean by that? Well, remember Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, a couple other people on there. Remember during the whole, well, I mean, you have January 6th, you have Sean Hannity on there defending January 6th, saying it was no big deal, just like Brandon will repeat because he doesn't have a mind of his own. It's no big deal. There were, all the lies we heard, they were touring. The Capitol Police let them in, all that other stuff. While the whole time, while this was happening, Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and all these other people were looking at it and they were trying to call Donald Trump as well as Donald Trump's son saying, you need to stop this. But we know Trump just sat there, saw it for 2 hours and did nothing for 2 hours. And so after he saw, well, this is not really going to go nowhere. People has been killed. Then he said, okay, go home. The whole time, Sean Hannity knew that this was bad, trying to get in Donald Trump. That you guys could look that up. It's easy to find. You'll hear audio. Right? So that's who Sean Hannity is. Right? As far as Fox News allowed that, and Fox News also allowed voter fraud information to be spread. So so you have Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, Sean Hannity, a bunch of other people saying, and Tucker Carlson saying that it was a fraud scam election. So what happens, right? So what was it also? I mean, it's like Fox News is a tabloid news place. They said basically what was their claim, that Dominion machine is no good, and I forgot the other place that where you cast your votes. Machine place you cast your votes, and they say Cesar Chavez, which is dead, but they say Cesar Chavez is really alive and he's in control of the machines and all this other nonsense, right? So guess what happened? Dominion sued them. Fox News. Dominion won because they were defaming them because, again, there was no such thing. Election fraud is not a thing. It did not happen. It has been proven in court that there's no election fraud or anything that happened. But I say mid to far right Republicans do not want to hear that. It's deep state this, deep state that, and yada, yada, yada. Right? So this is who Fox News is and Sean Hannity is. So just to give you guys a background of who they are and where this information is coming from.
All who watch is that Joe Biden is compromised.
Oh, so, and plus, right there before I forget, basically he's saying all this evidence, this mountain of evidence, and Brandon's corroborating what Sean Hannity says, Fox News is saying about all this overwhelming evidence, and he's guilty. And we're gonna see what this this evidence is. So there's hearsay, there's accusation, there's the court of public opinion, and then there's evidence. So I'm going to say they're talking about the evidence. So let's see what evidence that they have.
I believe, this is my belief, I believe that right now, America and the American people are under the authority and leadership of a person who is compromised, of a president who is doing the bidding of communist China. This is my belief. This is what I've always.
See why, and this is here we go again. He thinks he's in church. No one gives a damn about your belief. You cannot talk about I have evidence and then lead your argument with I believe. So we're not talking about evidence right now. You guys, you hear it. We're not talking about evidence right now. He spoke about evidence. He's doing the bait and switch again. Where he starts off talking about evidence. There's this mountain of evidence. And then he's going to say what I believe what Joe Biden is doing and what he's involved in. Like, no, we don't want to hear your belief. You said you have evidence. So already he's saying, I don't have anything. I know I don't have anything. And he's going to prove that. And we're going to see how he switches again.
Always believe, just with my understanding of Biden's history and my knowledge that the Biden brand is more important to the Biden family than the American people, the American people's best interest. So let's let Hannity get to talking.
Wow. Welcome to Hannity. We are back. We are live in New York City with a live audience. What a great... These... Wow, okay. Wow. What a great crowd. Thank you all for coming. So glad. And I took the red...
Anytime a white person, in my opinion, screams USA, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I mean, well, I've been pretty much all over the Northeast, which is mostly, Democratic, Republican, whatever. But obviously, there's going to be pockets and large and small and medium, and where all the racist shit goes down is where you got all these white people that fly the American flags. Basically, you got, for those of you who don't know, there's nothing wrong being patriotic. I'm in this country and stuff like that. I love America as my home. I'm a citizen here and everything, but I also love my country of origin, and I also love Africa, and that's perfectly fine. Just like you have an Italian American here, he'll be a proud Italian American, and he'll still also love the emerald oil of Ireland. You know what I'm saying? And there's also nothing wrong with that. So, but when I'm saying you have all these white people saying USA, 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 they're basically has taken the flag and turned it into like, well, we are the real Americans. I am an American, and these are the values that Americans hold as far as like white supremacy, war, Republican Party, nothing else. And the right wing, the right wing and Republicans at this point are not Americans at this point. They're pretty much going down the road of the Confederacy. Well, they are the Confederacy, but they're about to repeat history again. But let me not talk too much.
Guy back from the Reagan Library last night, and I'm not even tired hanging out with this group. All right, coming up tonight, Tommy Lahren, Tudor Dixon, Jimmy Fallon, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. They're all going to be sitting right here. But first, we have a pathetic new chapter from your President Joe Biden, and it's now unfolding before our eyes. Day one of the House impeachment inquiry into Biden, what I call the Joe Biden bribery and money laundering scandal allegations. It is now in the books. It's officially started. It did not disappoint. Let's start and take a look.
Remember, guys, this is like a committee to hear evidence. This is not an official, how should I put it, legal proceedings. This is basically, hey, let's have a committee of pre-discovery of what is being spoken about, what is going on. That's so. Remember, again, they have evidence. So let's hear it.
Bank records obtained this week showed that on August 2nd, 2019, Jonathan Lee and Miss Tang Ling in Beijing sent Hunter Biden $250,000, listing Joe Biden's home address in Wilmington, Delaware. The wire stated it was for a personal investment.
The Biden family and associates received over $20 million from 23 different countries that they had business.
Guys, remember these people right here. Remember the guy, the I don't know, he looked like a little creep, like a little pedo guy. And remember, remember this gentleman here also. Okay, just remember. Oh, sorry, guys.
One of the House impeachment inquiry into Biden, what I call the Joe Biden bribery and money laundering scandal allegations. It is now in the books. It's officially started. It did not disappoint. Let's start and take a look.
Bank records obtained this week showed that on August 2nd, 2019, Jonathan Lee and Miss Tang Ling in Beijing sent Hunter Biden $250,000, listing Joe Biden's home address in Wilmington, Delaware. The wire stated it was for a personal investment.
The Biden family and associates received over $20 million from 20.
So already they're saying Hunter Biden got a wire from China for the amount that you see right there. Now, this is a little bit of bait and switch. They're supposed to be proving that Hunter Biden was on board of Burisma, right? Not Burisma has nothing to do with China, right? I'm talking about Russia and Ukraine and all that, right? And have influence. So they're doing a pivot here.
3 different countries that they had business ties to or communications with. And they also had over 20 shell LLCs where they would transfer money in and out.
This is a text message between Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was in a bad way, by the way. He was.
Remember this guy? So this guy is a Negro Republican. Man, I wish I supposed to pull the picture up. And he made a speech doing his job like a good little house nigga. And all the white people was patting him on the head like Toby. I'm like, yo, it was so emasculating and so pathetic. But to be a black Republican and have your constituents like you got to be a good nigga. You got to be a good coon. And I wish I had it. It was patting this dude on the head like a dog.
Really strung out. He lost a bunch of money. He needed help. Jim Biden says, this can work. You need a safe harbor. I can work with your father alone.
This is a text message between Hunter Biden and Gong Wendong, an agent of CEA. Hunter says uncle will be here with his brother, in all caps, who would like to say hello to the chairman. He goes on, Jim's brother, if he's coming, wants to say hello. His uncle's brother. I wonder who that could be. I can't quite figure it out.
By the way, the mob and the media and all these Democrats, there's no evidence. No, there's a mountain of evidence. Anyway, it would take us hours to play all the evidence presented just today against.
So they're reading text messages that, I would admit like, that's kind of interesting, but out of context. But I'm going to keep it pushing.
Joe Biden, there are bank records, there are tax records. We have 170 suspicious activity reports. We've got photographs, we've got text messages, we have WhatsApp messages. I'm sitting next to my father. You will regret, between everyone he knows and my ability to hold a grudge, not following through. Anyway, we have emails, eyewitness accounts, we have sworn testimony, whistleblower testimony, and at least one damning FBI 1023 form from a highly credible FBI source quoting directly the CEO of Burisma, admitting to giving $5 million to one Biden, $5 million to another Biden. That would be called bribery where I grew up. I don't know what you call it where you grow up, or a shakedown. Use whatever term you like. But according to Democrats, this is all much ado about nothing. Just a touching story about a father and his love for his son. A lot of love with a lot of dollars. Take a look.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to rewind this back a little bit, because did this guy say that they received 20 payments of this back a little bit? Because did this guy say that they received 20 payments of, but I got to listen to this back a little bit, because did this guy,
the Biden family and associates received over $20 million from 23 different countries that they had business ties to.
Remember, guys, these are the accusations. No, okay, that's fine. Hopefully, we'll get to the proof before the accusation.
Or communications with. And they
president makes a decision as to helping a country or working with a country or not working with a certain country. That is not being, but because they're just getting a little, like they were like ranchers or something, and they were also in the oil in foreign nationals. It's really ridiculous. And I love what Byron Donald did right here.
This is a tech.
Of course you will love what Byron Donald did. He's a coon. And this is who Brandon is striving to be. He's striving to be a coon, be around a whole bunch of white people to pat him on his head and say, "Oh, that's a good nigga there. Here's money. You's a good nigga." Right? That's he doesn't care about black people. He's not a Pan-African at all. You can't be a Pan-African and align yourself with people who don't care about black people, whether they be black people or white people or polka dot people. You're not a Pan-African if their whole thing is to undermine you and people like you's existence in order to thrive.
Text message between Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was in a bad way, by the way. He was really strung out. He lost a bunch of money. He needed help. Jim Biden says, "This can work. You need a safe harbor. I can work with your father alone."
This is a text message which
I can work with your father alone. That statement there is damning, because that proves to me that Hunter is just the stooge. The person really running all this stuff is Joe Biden. His brother James is like, "I can work with your father alone." They don't even need Hunter. And I bet you when it all boiled down to it, they didn't even need James. Why? Because
all of this, there's still no Biden correspondence. There's still no Biden's correspondence. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit because, again, it's all accusations at this point in time. I'm gonna give him a little bit more time to explain something here. Take it back a little, just a little.
For the CCP, right? Their family has personal business dealings. These people, two agents of the CCP have sent $250,000 to Biden, to Joe Biden. And then you wonder why,
he lied. He lied. They did not send money to Joe Biden. Or I think he probably misspoke. What he meant to say, I know he's a lying ass, but I think what he meant to say was that they are wire transfers to Hunter Biden, not Joe Biden, right? If you look in the beginning of the clip, during the I forgot the guy's name, the older gentleman, right? Not the pedo looking one with the glasses. He said that they were wire transfers to Hunter Biden, right? Joe Biden didn't get anything. Nothing was wired to him. So I'm gonna let him kind of wrap up right here.
Why did Biden ease up on China? Everyone's like, that makes no sense. Why would he ease up on them? Why? Because he's benefiting from doing business with them. He's selling out the American people on their behalf.
So again, people, he's trying to deflect. So because Trump was doing the same thing, So so what I'm gonna do right now and here, so things can make a little bit more sense, so you can see his obvious lies. We're gonna start with this right here. So he pulls up this article of Hunter Biden, because remember, so the question is, why would Hunter Biden do all that? Not Hunter Biden. Why would Joe Biden meet with Xi Jinping and reverse everything that Trump did? So first, remember, there was the whole tariffs. Remember, Trump went to war over China over the tariffs, right? And he said, with that, America will be saving money because all this money that we given to China and stuff like that, yada, 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 yada. And I don't know about you guys, but things got more expensive, right? Because he ousted China. Now, this is the thing. Since he has, we all know Trump is racist, but for those of you who don't know, Mitch McConnell, a Republican, was also in charge of the GOP, used to be Trump's boy. He's not, Mitch McConnell want nothing to do with Trump right now, obviously, because as bad and horrible as Mitch McConnell is, right? He knows that, okay, Trump is a fucking disaster. But anyway, I'm saying that to say that Mitch McConnell's wife is Chinese. So since he had a falling out with Mitch McConnell, he was saying all these racist tropes about his wife. So yeah, there you go. Take that for what you want. So, and that's supposed to be his boy, but whatever. right? So things were more expensive when Trump put on those tariffs. So the exact opposite happened, right? So, and remember, Trump has a brand where all his clothing and all his stuff was made. It was also made in China. And when he was on the debate stage, he said, "Well, I was just taking advantage of the loopholes that that was here in America." So he didn't give a flying flute about, well, this is taking away American jobs. He's like, no, I'm saving money. Yeah, so of course he did it. So again, Trump is full of shit because he knew what he was doing before and after. So for those that you may not know, let me share something here with you, right? It's like, okay, what's this big thing, this big deal with China and America and things like that? So you have to understand that we are dependent on China, if you like it or not. We are dependent on China, right? So how much do we owe China? Let's see how much money that we owe China, right? Oh, you guys like my little wallpaper there? Trump is not racist, but you have all these races that's backing him, but not backing Biden. And I always find that very, very interesting that they say he's not racist, but all the racists back him. I find that to be very, very odd and disingenuous. So okay, so oh man, all right. So hold on, let me try this. All right, you know what? I think I probably forgot to put it up, but right now the United States owe China a couple $2 billion. I'm trying to find the article, but I can't see it. I think I was intending to do it, but I never did it. So anyway, we could do that and just move on. Yeah, we could just do that and just move on. So billions of dollars, right? So you can only do so much. I mean, I don't agree with the relationship with China, especially with the spy balloons and all the other stuff. So I'm not gonna lie here and say that everything with China is peachy keen and stuff like that. But here we go. I found it. Right. So right here, China is one of the United States' largest creditors, owing about $859.4 billion in U.S. debt. However, it does not owe the most U.S. debt of any foreign country. So there you go. This is who we owe. This is who we owe, right? And I'm for one to say that things need to be, but this is capitalism run amok. If people can make less money doing things overseas, then they'll just do it overseas. They won't do it here. And that is failure of the Congress and all the governing bodies within America. They should we should make it an incentive to do business here and not do business over there. So that's on the American people. And Donald Trump is one of those people who took advantage of that. So he is Wall Street. He is not the common man. He has always been Wall Street. All right. So now that we got that out of the way. Again, this is my dude again. Yeah, I said that. He says this dude is a liar, just like Trump. He's most likely talking about Brandon, and all those MAGAs are, and spreads false information and pushes a distorted narrative like they all do. I really, really dislike this miscreant. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'll be the first to say, because I mean, hate is a strong thing, but yeah, a strong dislike of him. Yeah, he is. I just like him strong because he's smart enough to know. I believe he's smart to know what he's doing, and that makes him like extremely dangerous. And what he says, Brandon is a traitor to the Pan-African community and should be shunned forever from the community. He is far gone and no way back. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's just done. And I think most people like us and other people just sees it for what it is. He has a label of Pan-Africanism, but he speaks like a house Negro, and we all can see that. So thank you for that, my brother. So moving forward, so that's about China because he wants to talk. They want to talk about China, right? So we owe China a lot of money, tariffs, all that stuff, right? But here's another thing. Here is another thing that you all may not know. So we all know that Trump is off the hook and yada, yada, yada. So here's the article. General Milley acted to prevent Trump from, I think I mentioned this yesterday, misusing nuclear weapons war with China, book says. So obviously, the Republicans, they don't have the courage to stand up for him, well, they do, but then they don't tell us later after he's out of office, and they have all these things. So basically, what happened, Trump was, again, getting into the beast with China and threatened to bomb them and all this other stuff. And I told you yesterday, he was on some trying to tell China, hey, look, we're not going to do anything. Don't worry about him. So right here it says, the book apparel said that in the days before the 2020 election, Milley also acted to prevent potential conflicts with China. The book said Milley received intelligence that Chinese officials believed the U.S. was getting ready to attack them. To diffuse tensions, Milley called the head of China's military, General Li Shozheng, sorry if I butchered that name, and told him the American government is stable and we are not going to attack. This is not so you had this one that they didn't prevent with also, so Trump almost caused World War III twice. So this was the first one, 2020. So I think I'm the one when he destroyed Iran's General Soleimani. They were going to attack because you just killed their general, right? He just did it on his own. So twice, Trump almost started World War III, right? Us directly. I'm not talking about, Ukraine is an ally of ours and, they'll do a proxy war. No. We directly would have been in a war with the Middle East again. It would be like the Gulf War all over again. Or we would have been having a fight with a war with China. And they're on equal footing, at least, if you say, even if we have better capabilities than them, which I don't know. But one thing I know, at least they're on equal footing with us nuclearly and technology, if not more. So when you consider all these things happening, right, and all these things that's going on behind the scenes and in front, this is why it's a delicate balance between China. Am I saying it's okay for Hunter Biden to do that? No. What Hunter Biden is doing, he's doing a lot of name dropping. He's doing nepotism, which they all do. Trump's had all his kids and grandchildren sitting at the table of the White House for 4 years, right? No government experience, but not one Republican would say, what is Ivanka doing here? What is her husband doing here? What is Eric Trump doing here? What is Don Jr.? No one says anything. To them, it's all fine. We could do all the corruption. We could do all the fucked up shit. We could do all that as long as as it's Trump and anyone that Trump's approve of. Anybody else, a Republican that I don't like, you know what I'm saying, or definitely all Democrats, they can't do it. They're the corrupt ones. But Hunter Biden, that never stepped foot in the White House, as far as we know, right, and doing the name dropping to get influenced and to get a job, which we always say, hey man, I know what's his name, man. He told me to check you out about a job. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does it. I'm not saying it's right, it's fair, but don't cherry pick who could do it and who can't and where is despicable and where it isn't. And that's the game that Republicans are playing. So now that we have this balance of what's going on, right? It's an upcoming book because that. I mean, you guys can hear the report if you want, but That's pretty much what.
And we should point out that this is after there had been, not when when the Secretary of Defense Esper was replaced by Miller, who was really part of the Trump world of the White House. There were also others who were put in place.
Hold on a second. Can I rewind it back? I can't rewind it back. Come on, why not? Why can't I rewind it back? Right here. No.
Start a war with China, or that China might misinterpret what the president's actions were because of his rhetoric. This all comes from the new book titled Peril, about the end of the Trump presidency and the beginning of the Biden administration, written by the Washington Post's Bob Woodward and Robert Costa. Joining us now, senior Washington correspondent Phil Rucker for the Washington Post, also author of I Alone Can Fix It, and Michael Schmidt.
That's a little blur right there. I'm not going to get to that because I got so much to cover. So that's the delicate balance that Trump has pushed us in order to deal with, right? Again, I don't like the fact that Hunter is using his name, right, and stuff like that, but it is not illegal for you to get a job, especially people in New York. Like, you know, they do this all the time. So in Washington, when you have a congressman or a senator, right, that used to be, or anyone in government, what do? They go work for private corporations. They go work for Raytheon. They work for GE in the military government sector, right? Why? Well, because they're scientists and they could help GE. And no, they worked on. They know the ins and out of the government and how it works, so they get hired. So let's be consistent across the board, right? So let me get my ducks in order here, because what I'm going to do, I am going to, you know what, I'm going to have a little fun, because I'm going to be here for a while. So hope y'all in for me, you know, y'all here to rock with me, right? So just to give you the idea, the mentality of these people, like Brandon is not in a class by himself, right? So right here, I like when there's other YouTubers too, but forgot the kid's name. But I like when people go out, right? They got correspondence that goes out and they actually talk to Trump supporters, right? Talk to Trump supporters and see what do they know, what do they think, what the consensus is on the ground. Right, so let's see here what they know is going on. It says, does an indictment disqualify someone from being president? Right, MAGA question.
Biden were indicted for using undue influence to help his son Hunter. Would that bother you?
If he was indicted, no, he needs to be in jail just like Hunter.
Would it disqualify him from the presidency if he were indicted?
I would hope he'd just go straight to jail because of, you know, I believe he's guilty. He's the big guy.
What about President Trump, who has been indicted 4 times?
Yeah, that's all just the Democrats just playing their games, you know, like the impeachments and the January 6th. I mean, all that was just.
What was January 6th?
You hear that, guys? Rules for them, but not for us. So Joe Biden has never been indicted. We went over yesterday what an indictment consists of in order to be indicted. You have to get a body full of evidence, and the evidence has to be looked over by a judge to say that it's credible. You get a jury together. That jury still sees that evidence, right? Deliberates and have the defendant of all the evidence being corroborated against the alleged so-called alleged evidence, and that person is supposed to present that evidence, alternative evidence, to say, look, this is why the alleged evidence you have to me is not valid or does not hold water, right? If that's done, then the trial goes out. There's no indictment issued. But if that is not done at all whatsoever, or a poor job was done, an indictment is issued based upon a jury of several people that says, yeah, you know what? There's enough credible evidence for an indictment to be issued. That's how an indictment works. So Trump being indicted 4 times and Joe Biden being indicted once, right? Or even, remember, this is a committee. This is not a legal proceeding. There's just a committee of saying, hey, look, we're going to view the evidence, right? And which they know it's a fool's errand, right? So anyway, this is the hypocrisy of MAGA, right? Total hypocrisy.
You're shaking your head about January 6th.
Well, the Democrats did it, Nancy Pelosi, and Trump had nothing to do with that. It was all planned.
It was.
Trump had nothing to do with that. Was all planned. Again, these people are not even on another planet. They're in another galaxy. This is what they have to tell themselves. These are what the MAGA-tards and the MAGA-coons have to tell themselves because they are in these echo chambers. And they don't want to see the evidence, but they for whatever they think that maybe it looks like evidence, that's anyway.
Where was that? Where has that been adjudicated?
Yeah. There's certain pages you can follow on Telegram, and people, if you follow the right people, they're telling what's happening behind the scenes. That.
Do you believe in QAnon?
Oh yeah. Yep.
There you go, folks. And when you call them up, say they're a cult, they get mad. These guys follow QAnon.
I follow. Yeah.
And is Q part of the reason why you're here today?
No, just our country needs to get rid of the corruption in our government.
A lot of people are saying that former President Trump was using undue influence, which is corruption, in Georgia to try and flip the results of that race in 2020. How do you feel about that?
I believe I've watched the tapes where they did hide ballots under the counters and tables, and I seen.
And thanks to Rujoy, those were those two black women that Trump said they were lifelong scammers. Remember, these black women in Georgia, they were poll workers for every election. He said Trump said they're professional scammers, vote scammers. So it means that they rigged every election, even the one that he won. Even the one that he won last time, right? But they're professional though. So why did he become president the last time? If they're professional on poll scammers, it doesn't add up. And Brandon goes on that same white supremacist bandwagon and have these black women harassed by redneck Southern Georgian Republicans, calling them racist names and threatening their lives. This is Pan-Africanism, according to him.
Seen it all.
I mean, even though in court they said that isn't really what happened.
Yeah, but that's you got Democratic judges and stuff that are running that stuff. So
and Trump appointed judges too, to be fair.
Well, yeah, but
if Biden were indicted, say, as you suggest, for facilitating Hunter Biden's advancement in business, exerting any kind of influence he could, do you think that should disqualify him from the presidency?
I think his mental capacity should disqualify him for the.
But specifically, what I just asked, though.
Yes, if you're found guilty, just because you're charged, no, but found guilty, yes.
So if Trump is found guilty before the election, do you think he should be disqualified?
Not with a jury and a judge and lawyers and everything in these liberal cities, because he's being set up, and I don't buy it. I don't care whether they find.
Again, a cult. We just say she's saying in liberal cities, whatever the hell that means. Not one judge in any red state said that there was evidence of election fraud. Not one. Not a one. They don't know what they're talking about.
You put a trial in Ohio for him for the same charges, then maybe I'd believe whatever the outcome was.
Right, but there's a lot of Trump-appointed judges and prosecutors who are involved in this too, right?
It doesn't matter. They bought out. They sold out. I mean, look at that one.
They have an answer for everything. They keep moving the goalposts.
One guy that I can't even think of his name, but the head honcho that started all this, he looks like a freaking KGB guy. Please.
Did the indictments against him matter to you?
No.
If President Biden were indicted for unduly influencing so that it helped his son Hunter. Would you think he should be indicted?
Yes.
I mean, and do you think that that should disqualify him from the presidency?
Yes.
But why the indictments against Trump not disqualifying him, but yes, indictments for Biden and disqualifying him?
Because Biden's a liar, and I don't believe in him.
But do you understand that it's the same, like an indicted president or former president? You can't, they both would be considered liars if they're convicted, right?
Maybe. Depends on who's running against who.
Let's say he used undue influence to help his son Hunter out, and it turns out that
say he did.
Well, I'm doing it in a hypothetical. We don't know that. You don't know, and I don't know. But let's say it in a hypothetical. If it were to have happened, and he was indicted, would that disqualify him from the presidency?
Should.
But 4 indictments against President Trump don't disqualify him?
Well, they're just after him because he's going to beat him.
But who's after him then?
Huh? The Democrats.
Just the Democrats. Okay, thanks. If President Biden were in...
Again, rules for thee, not for me. I said this before. Oh, to Democrats. If I commit a crime a year ago and they knew I committed a crime a year ago and they come get me now, I'm like, wow, I did that a year ago. You guys were saying this a year ago. That's messed up. Why are you taking so long? I'm going on vacation. I'm trying to go to Sierra Leone, and I'm trying to go to Chad and Zimbabwe. See, they knew that I was going there. They don't want me to go. They interrupted my vacation, y'all. They sat on there for a year. Okay, yeah, sat on for a year. That doesn't exonerate you because they waited for a year to actually press charges against you. That doesn't get you off the hook. But these people
indicted for using undue influence to help his son Hunter. Do you think that would disqualify him from running for president?
I don't know. It looks like Joe's in deep. Joe's in way deep.
It's becoming pretty clear that there were some high crimes and misdemeanors as far as bribery and things like that. So if that's the case, and he's proven guilty in an impeachment trial or something like that, then certainly that would disqualify him.
What's the difference between what that would do for Biden versus Trump?
For one thing, I don't believe Trump is going to be found guilty of any of the charges. I think they're trumped up charges, if you will. So I don't think he's going to be found guilty. I would support him even if he is found guilty. So
would that disqualify him from the presidency?
Ding, 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 ding. Trump could do no wrong. That's why, again, I probably said it's like the 30th time. This is a cult. When you follow someone regardless, right? Regardless of how flawed they are, regardless of how evil they are, regardless of how dishonest they are, regardless of how racist they are, regardless of how sexist they are, regardless of how pedo-ish they are, because you just like that person just because, and you buy into that image of who this person is, you are in a cult. Remember, and cults, and look, and Trump is kind of kind of see this coming. I mean, he's a good businessman, so he knows how to market, right? Just like Tariq. He said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. And interviews like this, they say, yeah, I'll still vote for him. Or they say, well, maybe they did something to deserve it. They would allow him, people who you're dealing with.
Joe Biden with his 20-some shell companies, him on tape with the Burisma deal. Are you kidding me?
Him on tape with the Burisma deal. All this alleged evidence that they say that's happening and is being regurgitated on the floor.
Are you kidding me? He is so corrupt, it's not even funny.
But should he be disqualified from the presidency for what he did?
You know what? As far as I'm concerned, Joe Biden, he doesn't know whether it's Monday or Tuesday or Sunday. And let him run. I really don't care. You know, I mean, he's not running our country anyway. It's Biden, it's Obama, it's Soros, it's the deep state that's running our country.
It's not Biden. It's Obama. You know, they don't like Negroes, even though it's Obama is half a Negro. 1 second. Like, what the heck? What's happening? I think I'm having a little bit of yeah, so it's Obama, it's Soros, you know, a Jew. They gotta throw a Jew in there because Jews control everything, you know, that, and the deep state. Typical Trumpian talking points. That's all I can say to sum everything up. It's a cult. Hold on, let me play. I find this sad and entertaining at the same time.
Where was that proven?
Where was that proven?
Yeah, in other words, that there's this thing
Joe
called the
Biden,
deep state.
Yeah, so I'm just giving you, like, it's not just branding and things like that. It's pretty much the whole MAGA people that think like that. They all think like that, and they're in these echo chambers of disbelief where they have to tell each other something different to escape reality. They have to escape the reality of the situation that they're in. So I am going I'm going to show one more video of these kooks and why they're the run of the mill average diehard Trump supporter that you really can't believe. So when you see people ignore all these indictments and all these charges, these are the people that I'm talking about. These are these people's mental state right now. So here's another one said, is there anything that Trump can do to lose your vote? It's a MAGA interview.
Okay, well, as long as if the killing was justified, then no.
I think former President Trump could do to disqualify you from voting for him?
These are Trump rallies. These are MAGA rallies. This is where they're going to. This guy, he goes to all, and there's other YouTubers that do that. They just go to these Trump rallies and just ask them questions. So this is what they're thinking on the ground. This is boots on the ground.
Nope.
What if he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die?
Okay, well, as long as if the killing was justified, then no.
I think he's a brilliant individual. So I'm here to show support and to love Trump because he loves America just like I do.
Is there anything that Trump could do that would disqualify you from his vote?
I mean, basically, if I found out he was part of this pedophile ring crap, then yeah, then it'd be out. But I know he's not.
Which pedophile ring?
Well, the whole thing with Epstein Island and all that stuff. That yeah.
Is there anything?
So at least he's honest, because he knew that Donald Trump knew Epstein. He says, and I don't know if he's part of the pedophile ring, right? But Donald Trump did know that Jeffrey Epstein liked girls way too young. He said himself, "Whoa, he likes them young," right? Just like Donald Trump, that say he want to fuck his daughter. And he's like, "If Ivanka wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her." He said, "Yeah, he has no shame." He looked at his daughter and said, "Yeah, I would fuck my daughter." That's how he thinks, right? He dated. He was a judge at a Little Miss Universe pageant, right? And he deliberately walked in on their dressing room, right? And he had no problem with that. And when I told Brandon, the so-called fake Pan-African, is he said that, hey, they asked him to judge it. That was his response. This man calls me a pedophile just because I voted for Joe Biden or I'm a Democrat. He calls me a pedophile, knowing him adoring and loving Donald Trump. This is his defense of Donald Trump walking in on little girls. He said, "Hey, bro," they asked him to judge it. This is what he says. This is what he said. But I'm the pedophile and I'm the blind one. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on and all that. But here you have Brandon, a person that busts a nut in his pants when Donald Trump is around. When he sees Donald Trump, he sees him speaking. I showed you guys about that yesterday, right? And a man that he has no problem walking in on prepubescent 13, 14-year-old girls' beauty pageants. Hey, they asked him to judge it. They asked him to judge it, bro. What you want him to do? What you want him to do? This is a man that has a daughter, right? This is supposed to be a so-called proud black man that's family first and all that, right? Drooling over Trump and letting him and have no problem with him ogling on little girls. And he know Trump grabs women by the pussy. I'm pretty sure he has no problem with that either. But anyway.
Donald Trump could do to disqualify him from your vote?
No.
Nothing at all. If he just walked up and shot me.
If it was self-defense.
Is there anything he could do to disqualify you from supporting him?
I don't think so.
What if he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die?
Well, maybe. Okay.
You don't think any of this disqualifies him from being president?
Are you kidding? Why would it? Why?
Is there anything he could do to disqualify you from supporting him?
No. Times were great. I was younger when Bill Clinton was in office. Times were great then, and when Donald Trump was in office, times were great then too.
Is there anything that Trump could?
I'm sorry. I really don't want to make fun of anyone who is mentally challenged or what and something like that. But on my unprofessional view, I'm just going based upon what I know and people who I've encountered. Some of these people seem to be mildly retarded, just a little bit. Some of them, like special needs. I'm just saying.
Could do to disqualify himself from your vote?
Probably not. I mean, we had energy, affordable energy. I mean, things were going good.
Is there anything that would disqualify him from your vote?
I don't want him to get too moderate to try and catch too many swing voters. I do like that he's a hard conservative. So,
is there anything he could do that could?
But see, that's the problem. He doesn't want swing voters. So when he says swing voters, we're talking about like independents, people. Let's say probably like myself. So let's say, you have someone that's like me. It's like, you know what? I don't agree with this Republican, but this Republican's going against the grain. So let's say, I'm sorry, guys, I'm trying to throw myself a crazy conundrum here. So let's say, because the Democrats are like too freaking weak to post anybody up, because if Joe Biden stays in, like, he's going to lose. We're going to lose. And if Trump was to go in, Trump was going to be president again. But let's say there's an alternative Republican candidate. I think it's Kristen Sinema and Chris Christie. I don't like any of them, but let's say that it was Joe Biden versus Chris Christie or Sinema, right? Because they have gone against Trump. I think I will vote for those two instead of Biden. Honestly speaking, I either wouldn't vote at all or I'll vote for those two. It's a hypothetical, so there's a lot of factors involved, right? So I'm saying to say when they talk about swing voters, never Trumpers, which is okay because the majority of the Republican Party doesn't agree with Trump. It's just the Yeah.
Disqualify him from your vote?
At this point, no. No, I think he's fighting for everybody.
Is there anything that would disqualify Donald Trump from getting your vote, sir?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Not a thing.
Nothing. I don't care if he grabs by the blankety blank. No, absolutely not.
What if he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die, like the Johnny Cash song?
Well, then he probably deserved it. If he didn't, run.
You have a
There you go, guys. This is gold. These are these people. These are his supporters.
T-shirt says Alex Jones was right. What was he right about?
He's been right about everything.
What about Sandy Hook?
Well, Sandy Hook, why did, let me question it this way. How come he was basically, that lawsuit was the biggest lawsuit against Alex Jones. He didn't kill those kids in American history.
See, he switched. He said, his shirt says Alex Jones is right. The guy asked him, what was Alex Jones right about? Because we all know, for those of you that don't know, you need to find out, because defamation of those children. So what happened real quick, Alex Jones on his show, right, InfoWars, for years kept saying it was a false flag. It was a false flag. Sandy Hook didn't happen. The children were actors. The parents were actors. Blah, 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 blah. To the point you had parents, right? You had, again, right-wingers, that they find out who the parents are and harass the parents. One couple had to move several times. Another couple, right, where their son is buried, man, I would have lost my shit. Where their son is buried, they desecrate the son's grave because they felt that the grave is fake. It's all fake. So Alex Jones had to pay millions and millions of dollars to like several families for what he did. Again, defamation. It's like Rudy Giuliani defamed those black women in Georgia. The same thing happened to Alex Jones. He had to pay millions of dollars. Just to give you guys a little background. But these are Trump supporters. This is the far right wing.
Was waging war against him for his free speech is what it really was.
If you could sit
again with this free speech bullshit. We have free speech, yes. You put it like this: you can say whatever you want. Yeah, you could definitely say whatever you want. But guess what? There's going to be consequences if you threaten me, if you threaten my life, right? If you yell fire in the middle of a mall or a building and stuff like that, you go to jail for that because you by you doing that, you cause mayhem, and people can lose their lives and other things. So you can say what you want, but depending on what you say, what you want, there's going to be legal consequences for it.
Down with President Biden, tell him one thing. What would you tell the president?
Do you know what flavor Jell-O you're having tonight?
That's funny.
If you were to have a substantive question for him, what would it be?
Do you have enough Jell-O for both of us?
You win.
Okay.
Trump.
That was funny. I can't lie. That guy is funny. That guy was funny. Anyway, I'm only doing this, y'all, because just to show you the type of the mental capacity of these MAGA supporters that support Trump no matter what. These are their mental faculties, right? Again, I got about through half of the stuff, probably not even half. I'm in extra innings today. It's Saturday. I'm away. I'm chilling. I'm good, and I'm doing this. I'm having fun doing this, right? So let me see what else I got. Yeah. I said that. Yeah. Joe Biden don't know whether he's coming or going, but somehow he's the mastermind of international crime family and the deep state. Yo, that is true, yo. That is true. Joe Biden don't know how to get off the stage Joe Biden is mental and frail and all this other stuff, but he's like freaking Brainiac from Superman. It's just like, what? Like, how is that even possible? Bro, that's a good one. You're absolutely right. Joe Biden is this. He's this. He knows it was Monday or Tuesday, but he knows enough to know the day and the time zone. Okay, it is 4:00 in the afternoon right here. And he has to calculate, he has to know what day it is and then calculate the time zone. Okay, so I'll call Hunter now to do this business deal or China. Then yeah, I'll be getting them at 9 in the morning. Y'all just say he don't know what day it is, let alone what time it is, bro. That's a good one. You're absolutely right. That's a good one. Kudos to you. That's a good one. You know what I'm saying? So, wow. So yeah, we're gonna keep it going. That that is a good one, man. You hit the nail right on the head. So, what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna fast forward from the truthful perspective. Call me biased or whatever. And we're gonna go back to Brandon as far as like what this whole impeachment hearing is, what it's all about, the evidence that they present. Then we're gonna go back to Brandon and Sean Hannity's commentary and their evidence, and you guys will make a decision for yourself as far as like who's being truthful, who's being deceitful, and all that other stuff. So hold on. There we go. All right.
I'm asking you a very direct question. You present.
Remember that guy. So you know what? I'll do it this way. Fuck it. I'll do it this way. I'll show this first. Remember this guy I told you, the weirdo pedo looking guy with the glasses?
I'm asking you a very direct question. You presented a piece of evidence that you say came on August 6, 2017, that demonstrates that Joe Biden was using political influence to help his son. If he wasn't a political figure at that time, the first WhatsApp message you put up, how does that demonstrate that there's some sort of political influence being put over him if at that time he is not he's not an elected official?
I'm definitely not going to pinpoint one item. I think we've outlined.
You presented it. It was your first thing that you brought up.
Oof. Things are not.
So what you mean he's not going to pinpoint? It's his job to pinpoint it. So if you say, hey, look, here is Joe Biden. Here is Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is using his father's political influence. He's not an elected official yet. So how does that work? That's like saying, like, yo, I'm about to work for the GE space program or some shit. And like, yo, they call me for an interview. I'm going to the interview. I don't know how it's going to turn out. This is their smoking gun.
Going well for House Republicans seeking to impeach President Joe Biden. Now, what you just watched was Republican Representative Jason Smith from Missouri fumbling pretty hard during a press conference yesterday, alleging that there was, in fact, some sort of connection between President Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings. Republicans are alleging that Joe Biden sold his access, sold his influence in an effort to secure tens of millions of dollars from foreign business people. But the evidence has not been presented yet. And as you can tell from that exchange, which involved NBC's Ryan Nobles, Republicans can't even seem to get their timeline right. I mean, it was just embarrassing to say the least. So why don't we take a little more, why don't we look a little more at how that exchange went down? And then I'll fill you in on the rest.
If I'm not mistaken, August 7th, 2020, Bill Barr was the attorney general and Donald Trump was the president. So explain to me where the two-tiered system of justice comes into play. And then the WhatsApp message you have, I believe is dated June 6, 2017, Joe Biden.
You hear that? He's saying, the guy's like, you're alleging a two-tier justice system when William Barr, which is Donald Trump's third attorney general, because he fired the first two because they wouldn't do some I'm sorry, they wouldn't do some sleazeball shit for him, right? Because Donald Trump's like a mob boss. I'm the president, so you work for me, right? So William Barr is his president. I mean, William Barr is the attorney, is the DOJ, and Donald Trump is the president. So where's the two-tier justice system? It's all Republicans.
Biden is not vice president or even a candidate for president at that time. So where is the direct connection to some sort of criminal malfeasance within these two pieces of evidence?
It doesn't matter who's in the White House. We need to make sure that the Department of Justice works for all people and doesn't treat those who are politically connected or wealthy much differently.
But you suggested that Joe Biden being the president now is unfairly treating Donald Trump in his indictments?
What I'm talking about is the 700 pages that we have before us, which is all the information that came from the IRS whistleblowers.
Can you explain the timing then of the August 6th WhatsApp message? Why is that evidence of some wrongdoing?
I'm not an expert on the timeline. I would love to have President Biden and his family to tell us about all the timelines.
But if he's not the president or the vice president at that time, where's the wrongdoing? He wasn't even a candidate for president at that time.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Corn Pop was a bad dude.
So again, this is what Republicans and Republicans aren't showing you. I'm kind of gonna let her go a little bit because it will give you a little bit more context, just for a little bit more.
I was so embarrassed, guys. You're gonna hold a press conference. You're gonna move forward with impeachment hearings. Do you really think that you can just skate on by with nonsense, with no evidence, not even knowing the timeline of what you are accusing the president of the United States of doing? It's unbelievable. So let's break this down, okay? Break down all the information that the House Ways and Means Committee has in regard to these allegations against President Joe Biden. So Committee Chairman Jason Smith, the clown that you just saw in that video, summarized that the trove of material provided to the committee by two IRS whistleblowers who are now getting sued by Hunter Biden showed Joe.
Again, guys, she's reading this article from the Washington Examiner. So she's like me. I could have went to the Washington Examiner and did the same thing, or MSNBC or Democracy Matters, whatever. But this is what she's reading from, just in case you guys don't know. That's the author of the article, and that's the Washington Examiner.
Joe Biden's political power and influence was the brand that Hunter Biden was selling all over the world, and that it also suggests an effort to sway US policy decisions. Now, Smith highlighted a couple of items from the contents, including a WhatsApp message that he said was written by Hunter Biden to a business associate on June 6th, 2017. Who was president? Trump. Trump was president June 6th, 2017. And who was Trump's vice president? Was it Joe Biden? No, it was Mike Pence, the guy that was debating last night. Okay, good. It's important to know that context. I'll continue. In the message from June 6th, 2017, when Donald Trump was president of the United States, Hunter Biden writes in the WhatsApp message, "Bullcrap, James, all around bullcrap. Explain to me one thing Tony brings to my table that I so desperately need that I'm willing to sign over my family's brand and pretty much the rest of my business life."
Remember that. Remember in the beginning, Brandon and Sean Hannity was talking about Hunter's brand and this is that, and he's selling this and business deals and yeah. They had no context. They taking these things out of context. 2017, y'all. Joe Biden doesn't hold any office. He doesn't have any influence. It's wow. Again, this is a committee that they hope that, well, they really don't hope that, but I'll get to that later. But the optics seems like they hope, like, oh wow, everyone's gonna we should have an impeachment hearing when the evidence on the ground there's no evidence on the ground. So people will be like, it's a joke. No one's gonna waste taxpayers' dollars and and move forward on something that you don't have so far. But let's see what they got.
What the effing documents? Read the effing documents, people. It's plain effing English. Why in God's name would I give this marginal bully the keys? My family's only asset. Now, look, we don't know the context surrounding that clearly, but apparently that's a piece of evidence that Republicans have latched onto as part of their impeachment-related investigation into Joe Biden. Now, Smith claims that the family asset is Joe Biden. That Hunter Biden talks about his father that way, that his father is a family asset. Okay, great. But remember, Joe Biden has no political power during this time because what was the date again, guys? Was June 6th. What was the year again? 2017. Say it, give it to me like aggressively, John.
June 6th, 2017.
I hope you guys heard him, okay? He's a little shy, but come on. So there's more to this. Around that same time, Hunter Biden divorced his wife, Kathleen Buell, and spent some time basically living in his father's home in Wilmington. And this is again in 2017. Now, look, that might sound weird, like moving back in with your dad, but a lot of people do that after they went through a divorce. Like you need to find a place to live, and temporarily you'll move in with a family member or a friend until you get back on your feet. And it appears that's what Hunter Biden did. Now, Hunter listed his dad's house as the billing address for his personal credit card and Apple account in both 2018 and 2019. Ooh, seems real shady. James Comer revealed Tuesday of this week that Hunter Biden then received 2 payments from Beijing in 2019. Okay, now House Committee.
So that's what Brandon was talking about, and Sean Hannity was talking about the payments from Beijing, right? So again, who's in office again? It's not Obama, it's not Joe Biden.
On Oversight and Accountability Chairman Comer today announced the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed and obtained 2 bank wires revealing Hunter Biden received payments originating from Chinese nationals, including Jonathan Lee, in July and August 2019 when Joe Biden was running for president of the United States. Joe Biden's Wilmington, Delaware home is listed as the beneficiary address for both wires because Hunter Biden was living there. Now remember, this is in 2019 when Joe Biden is presumably running for president. But actually, even that's unclear because we don't know if Hunter Biden received those payments before Hunter Biden officially announced he was running for president or a little after. But honestly, I think it's a bit of a moot point because at that point, he's candidate Joe Biden. He is not the president of the United States. He has no influence or power to sell. That is super relevant, but I will continue.
So what you're saying there is true. He was the candidate. And again, I would not say that Hunter Biden is not using his family name to get money. I mean, he's a little bit of a scam artist. Like I heard he used to sell art and sold art for all these millions and millions of dollars. That's a scam. That's a hustle, right? You know what I'm saying? That's a scam. That's a hustle. But hey, it's capitalism. You know what I'm saying? You got it for sale. Someone wants to buy it. Sold. That's it. That's the American dream. That's the American way. So, yeah.
During last night's episode of The Five, the resident Democrat or liberal, I guess, on that show, Jessica Tarlov, tried to explain the discrepancies in Comer's claims and the case that Republicans are trying to build against President Joe Biden. Let's watch.
I think that we all know how wire transactions work. So when you fill out the information of who you're wiring it to, you don't write big guy's house, Wilmington, Delaware. You put in your account numbers, right? It goes to Hunter Biden's account. And James Comer knows this. He also knows that Hunter Biden's personal account, which was with Wells Fargo, had been registered in Wilmington, Delaware. He, by the way, moved back in with his parents, as many grown men do when they get divorced, in 2017. So not only did he have his bank account registered there, he had his personal credit card, his Apple account, and his driver's license was a Delaware.
So you can bribe the son of the presidential candidate. That's fine.
First of all, this is going on that entire period when Joe Biden was not a candidate.
It was 2019. He'd already announced.
Yeah, I actually checked the dates.
It announced.
On the announcement.
See how Republicans play? First, he's the president. Then she checked him. Then it's like, well, he announced. And he's very adamant about it. So basically, that's the background I want to give you guys right there. So here's where it's gonna get juicy. It's gonna get juicy. This is my favorite part. So now you see the title. It's about Mrs. Crockett. So I'm gonna show you about Mrs. Crockett, about everything that she that was all the hubbub about, right? That shut shit down. Hold on one second.
Evidence. There's no evidence. Well, just no fact just sit back and let the American people hear the.
That's Comer.
I think this is going to be an informative hearing for you, Mr. Raskins, because we were going to present evidence. What evidence? There's no evidence. Well, just there's no fact just witnesses. Sit back and let the American people see the hearing and let the American people. All right. Now look, you've gone over your time. We're going to have a. We're going to go by the rules here. Okay.
I mean, if this is how the bombshell hearing kicks off, you can imagine that the rest of the game gets pretty brutal.
But when we start talking about things that look like evidence, they want to act like they blind. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets. Looks like in the shitter to me.
Republicans got their distraction, their oversight hearing underway and following suit with their 5-year investigation.
Again, 5 years investigating. Nothing just yet.
It was nothing but an incendiary.
Remember, you heard what they said, 5 years investigating Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Nothing yet. And they're going to prove that.
Word salad with no evidence.
In your testimony today, are you presenting any firsthand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
No, I'm not. In fact, it had as much substance as a Marjorie Taylor Greene fact sheet. And while Democrats, tired of this runaround, they came with receipt.
Remember, Republicans shut down. The Republicans going to shut it down. Republican shutdown is going to have all the constituents, everyone that works for the state, right? They're going to have all these people are not going to get paid. They're not going to get paid, but family values, family first. They are willing to risk optics of Joe Biden on breaking the law, right? Being a traitor to the United States just for optics with no evidence, just so they could look good and going to hold their own constituents, right? Innocent people, right, to suffer because they're good.
And it was ruthless. None more so than AOC, who set the tempo early on by simply putting the onus on the witnesses testifying. What evidence does thou present?
Mr. Turley, I have a simple question for you. In your testimony today, are you presenting any firsthand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
No, I'm not.
No, you are not. Ms. O'Connor, you are the second Republican witness here today. Have you, in your testimony, presented any firsthand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
I have not.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Dubinsky, as the third and final Republican witness in this hearing, have you, in your testimony, presented any firsthand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
I have not.
And Professor Gerhardt, given that you are the minority witness, I assume the same, correct?
I am not a fact witness, correct.
Thank you.
Boom! Went through all their so-called witnesses. They're not, and remember, they took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And they don't have shit. Let's run that again. Let's run that again. That is devastating.
None more so than AOC, who set the tempo early on by simply putting the onus on the witnesses testifying.
And again, for all you magatards, this was on this. Oh, they just covered it up. But I'm gonna uncover it. This is on Fox News, right? Fox News. This is on Fox News, right? They're gonna put their logo here because they're reporting on it. But this is Fox News, I don't know how it's a recording. I don't know how it could be fudged or tampered with, but this is Fox News. Fox News is airing this.
On the witnesses testifying, what evidence does thou present?
Mr. Turley, I have a simple
Fox News.
question for you. In your testimony today, are you presenting any firsthand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
No, I'm not.
No, you are not. Ms. O'Connor, you are the second Republican witness here today. Have you, in your testimony, presented any firsthand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
I have not.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Dubinsky, as the third and final Republican witness in this hearing, have you, in your testimony, presented any firsthand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
I have not.
And Professor Gerhardt, given that you are the minority witness, I assume the same, correct?
I am not a fact witness, correct.
Thank you. And to clarify,
Seconds to Mr. Moskowitz. It's your lucky day. You get 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's your lucky day. What a day we are having here, isn't it? Right? I mean, listen, as a former director of emergency management, I know a disaster when I see one. I mean, by the way, you don't believe me, just ask Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, your guy, just went on and said, perhaps.
Who's guy, Steve Bannon?
Yeah, well, you know who's.
Steve Bannon, another grifter, was in part of Trump's cabinet, and he was ousted because he was grifting and siphoning and taking money. So he's a right winger. So that's who Steve Bannon is. That's who Steve Bannon is.
Who Steve Bannon is. Perhaps Steve Bannon just went on and said perhaps the Republicans shouldn't have started with a witness. He was talking about Professor Turley, who was going to say right off the bat that there wasn't an impeachable offense. I quote, he says, perhaps we should have put him on the maybe list for one of our witnesses.
And then from there, Democrats work the body. As we all know, I love when Katie Porter brings in her whiteboard for us to take a leaf out of her book.
But then just 12 days later, 12 precious days later, something happens. I'm not sure what, but something happens, because then the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, comes out and says, yes, we will do an impeachment inquiry.
Also, basically, they're connecting the dots. So basically, there's corroborating evidence that McCarthy and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and you see Gates right there, Trump instructed them to go do this sham impeachment to get Joe Biden impeachment, to make him look, to probably to validate all the lies they've been spreading. So this is what this is. This is political theater.
So what happened between these 12 days? It's very simple. 3 threats from members of his own caucus at the direction of former President Donald Trump changed his mind. Number one, the threat to force a vote on impeachment, which would lose on the House floor and be another embarrassment in the long list of embarrassments this Congress for the Speaker of the House. Number two, they would threat to shut down the government, something that will happen in just 2 days. And number three, and this is the one that really got to him, they said, you about to lose your job. And they said, we will remove you as Speaker from the House. And that scared him so much that Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House of the United States of Representatives, third in line of the presidency, completely caved due to the threats of people within his own caucus. This fake impeachment is based on desperate political calculation, not any evidence.
He got Cuomo's heart racing like he was chasing a missing informant. Before Jasmin Crockett used her time to highlight the orange elephant in the room.
Let me give y'all a little bit of tea while we're here. So I have a document that I will ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record. It's a fact sheet on President Trump's shady business dealings with the Chinese government.
What are you entering in? A record from who?
This is from the Congressional Integrity
Project, the dark money pack?
I object.
I object to that too.
Of course y'all gonna object, but we gonna talk.
The dark money pack, right? It's legitimate evidence. So of course they're gonna object to that, but the sister's gonna read it anyway because he speaks the truth, as you can see in the title.
Of course y'all gonna object, but we gonna talk about it. So it says Trump has extensive financial ties to the Chinese government. President Trump collected millions from Chinese government-owned entities while in office. I have the best tenants in the world. President Trump was well aware of the multi-million-dollar lease to Chinese interests. President Trump promised to donate foreign government profits while in office, but he donated less than a third of his proceeds from the Chinese government. President Trump maintained 3 foreign bank accounts while in office, including one in China. President Trump's business with China raised legal and ethical concerns. President Xi loves the people of China. He loves his country, and he's doing a very good job. President of the United States has committed. But when we start talking about things that look like evidence, they want to act like they blind. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets. Looks like in the shitter to me. This looks like more evidence of our national secrets, say on a stage at Mar-a-Lago. When we're talking about somebody that's committed high crimes, it's at least indictments. Let's say 32 counts related.
So there you go. So she's basically saying this is a sham. It's hypocrisy. They're witnessing that, I'm not presenting anything, or I don't have anything to show that's a first-hand witness account to prove what I'm saying right here, right? And again, you have secrets. Donald Trump having secrets. So you're saying, okay, all of a sudden, y'all blind when there's evidence. But all of a sudden, y'all can see imaginary things of evidence that's not even there. That's what she's saying. So for those of you that don't know, or probably haven't seen what she's talking about or whatever, I'll show you right over here. As far as like all the documents that Trump had at Mar-a-Lago. Do I have it here? Oh man, I hate when it does that. Hold on a second. Oh man, I hate when it does that. Whatever. I gotta keep it pushing. Whatever. I'm just gonna let her play out. But you guys should know the documents. You could Google it. You could look it up.
Related to unauthorized retention of national security secrets, 7 counts related to obstructing the investigation, 3 false statements, 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, falsifying business records, conspiracy to defraud the United States, 2 counts related to efforts to obstruct the vote certification proceedings, 1 count of conspiracy to violate civil rights, 23 counts related to forgery or false document statements, 8 counts related to soliciting, and I could go on because he's got 91 counts pending right now. But I will tell you what the president has been guilty of. He has unfortunately been guilty of loving his child unconditionally, and that is the only evidence that they have brought forward. And honestly, I hope and pray that my parents love me half as much as he loves his child. Until they find some evidence, we need to get back to the people's work, which means keeping this government open so that people don't go hungry in the streets of the United States. And I will yield.
So there you have it. So that was the whole that was the whole thing that I found.
Now, while it's important to point out the hypocrisy of the GOP, framing the current president as corrupt, while their own frontrunner is buried under indictments like he was a Mar-a-Lago toilet amidst classified documents. Delighted to see how mad Democrats.
Oh, come on now. Network's running a little bit slow, guys. That's that's mostly the gist of it. I will keep it pushing if I need to. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it pushing. Right. So notice, we'll see. Maybe Brandon has a word for that. Maybe he'll recant that, because that was on his stream and whatever. So we'll find out soon enough, right? So I'm going to play her rebuttal as far as like what happened. But before I do that, I'm going to get into the whole Hunter Biden thing. So remember, Hunter Biden this, Hunter Biden that. Now, for you guys that don't know what's going on, remember, you saw there they say they'll probe for 5 years, and they turned up with nothing. So there was already a probe for Hunter Biden, right? They tried to indict Hunter Biden. The only thing they found on Hunter Biden, right, was that he didn't pay his taxes, right? And he had a gun, a gun that was registered to him, but because of his drug problem that he had, you're not supposed to have a weapon and have a drug problem. So on the gun form that he had, he put that he's not addicted to drugs or on drugs or anything like that. So he lied in order to get that gun. That's all they found, guys. And if they're gonna push forward with this, people lie on their forms. Now, we're talking about guns here. You're gonna tell me a bunch of Republicans don't lie? I mean, people lie, but Republicans at this rate, they lie like fish swim. So they're gonna set up precedents for throwing people in jail because go ahead. So I have an article right here that pretty much sums up everything. So right here it says Hunter Biden indicted on gun charges, facing 10 years in prison if convicted, because they couldn't find anything else. They skipped all of that just to go to an impeachment hearing of Joe Biden. Already they have you thinking that Hunter Biden is already found guilty, and they have corroborating evidence to link Joe Biden with it, when they didn't even have evidence of Hunter Biden doing the things that they say Hunter Biden did. This is all they come up with. This is all they could come up with. And Hunter paid his taxes. Everyone pays late taxes. Everyone pays their taxes late. Trump don't even freaking pay taxes. And he lies about paying taxes. Then he got indicted here in New York, right? For tax evasion and tax for him and his sons. They were found guilty for tax fraud. And Trump's stupid ass, he even didn't want to do a jury trial. It was a judge trial, and he's making fun of the judge, saying he's going to sue the judge. Either he's in Trump, Trump is stupid, or his lawyers can't control him, or he has bad lawyers. It's one thing if you have a jury. I mean, I wouldn't make fun of a judge in anything. It was a jury trial or a judge trial, especially a judge trial. At least in a jury trial, you know what? There's a MAGA moron in the jury. It'll probably be a hung jury or whatever. I'm not going to get convicted. But the bad part, the judge may like, I don't like you, and probably, give you like a bad deal. But that's not the case. So he's making fun of the judge and all that. So all this is fraud. This is all that. So Hunter Biden not paying his taxes is like, okay, and so what? He paid it. You're going to get him on that. So what do they do now? Gun charges. 10 years. Okay.
Against Hunter. Well, it was highly anticipated, and now it has happened. The federal government has just filed an indictment against Hunter Biden.
Fox News, yo.
On that gun charge. Our justice correspondent, David Spunt, has got the latest from the DOJ. David?
Hey, John and Sandra, 4 pages here. Hunter Biden, Robert Hunter Biden, indicted by the U.S. attorney, or in this case, special counsel David Weiss, based in Wilmington, Delaware. As you mentioned, we knew this was somewhat going to come because his office said it would happen before September 29th. We have 3 counts in this indictment. This is related to the purchase of that gun. Remember, back in 2018, we've been reporting on it for several years. Hunter Biden made a false statement. This indictment alleges made several false statements about the gun charge or about purchasing a federal firearm. He said that he was not addicted to drugs. 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. Okay, I'm looking at Jake Gibson, our producer, is reading to me right now. The maximum penalty would be 10 years of imprisonment for count one, which is a false statement. So let me go ahead and read through this, but just to kind of summarize things here, this is only relating to Hunter Biden making false statements on a federal gun form that he was not addicted to narcotics when he had in his possession in Delaware a gun for just over a week back in 2018. John Sanders, this is not related to the tax cases involving Hunter Biden or any other potential charges. The special counsel said those.
Okay, guys, that's it. So they have nothing on Hunter. They have nothing of what they're saying in this sham hearing on Hunter. So how can you move forward and you have nothing on Hunter Biden of him doing bad business deals? You have no wire transactions. You have no witnesses. You don't have anything. If you did, he would have been charged, indicted before this indictment of Joe Biden. The two, you have to connect the two. You cannot connect the one and say, well, I could connect the other. You couldn't find anything. Anyway, I got more evidence. Much more evidence. I know it's overload, but but no one could say that that hey, look, I didn't show and prove, I didn't do nothing or anything like that. There's no way you cannot know right now. There's absolutely no way that you just cannot know. So I got another one right here. So we're gonna see her interview.
That was a blistering and masterful takedown that has now become, as I'm sure you can imagine, a viral sensation by Democratic Congresswoman Jasmin Crockett. This occurred during the House Republican impeachment inquiry into President Biden's son, Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings, where Crockett called out Republicans for showing up with no direct evidence to support their allegations against the president, while also ignoring the mountain of evidence and charges against former President Donald Trump. Congresswoman Crockett joins me now. I have to just start with the notion of, there's a couple of things. Ma'am, Madam Congresswoman, you are a freshman member who walked up into those people's impeachment inquiry and did all of that. Number one, kudos to you for representing your constituents as best you can in doing that, not necessarily for the likes or for going viral, but because it's what you were convicted to do, I would imagine. What are you hearing from your constituents in the wake of, because you're in Texas, which is a red state, but you're in a blue district. So what are you hearing from your constituents generally about not that moment, but the notion of Republicans' impeachment inquiry into the president?
So I don't really think that my constituency was really paying that much attention to the impeachment in and of itself. This was more like red meat that the Republicans was trying to, make sure that they could distribute to their followers. But I can tell you that my constituents are well aware of my advocacy now. And they have been off the chain excited. And they've been, and not necessarily about the word itself, because I've had a number of preachers that have reached out and said something to me, but they have been excited about my passion. And it's a passion that I bring to this committee every single day. It's a passion that I bring to this job in general. I'm not here to play games. The reality is that we have people that are struggling and suffering in this country. And then we have people that want to pander and pretend that they are the ones that are going to look out for the economic well-being of this country, while at the same time doing something that is completely opposite of what it is that they're saying. And so, yeah, I was frustrated. And honestly, I think the majority of the Americans that have reached out and have been excited about this moment, they were more so excited because they felt the same type of frustration as they watch our country falling apart. And they were happy to see that someone is actually sitting in a position of power display that same level of passion.
Now, before you were an elected official, you were a civil rights attorney and a public defender. I like to take my glasses off when I talk to lawyers so we can just keep it straight and be eye to eye. You did something I thought was very interesting in your remarks. You juxtaposed this conversation and this inquiry around Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, the president, and what may or may not be there in terms of evidence against hard evidence that we've seen from the DOJ and Donald Trump and his prosecutions around Mar-a-Lago and the documents case. Why did you choose to do it that way? And what was the significance for sort of putting those two things in contrast together at the impeachment hearing?
Yeah, so the entire time that I've been sitting on oversight, we have continually pointed out hypocrisy. And this was me calling them hypocrites without calling them hypocrites, right? And so instead of saying y'all are just hypocrites, I decided to show what the hypocrisy looks like. The idea that there's all this evidence against the president, yet they had very rarely mentioned the president's name in this inquiry. They did not bring any fact witnesses. And the witnesses that they did bring didn't think that the evidence that they had heard or the lack thereof leading up to this hearing, they didn't think that they even had enough. Your own witnesses. So it's like, why are we wasting our time as the clock is counting down? This is when Kevin McCarthy should have been reaching across the aisle. We shouldn't have been waiting to the last hour as people were struggling. If you say that you care about border security, you say you care about national security, you say a lot of things. And that is what I need the American people to understand, is that the Republicans talk the best game that is, I mean, they are definitely like the masters of the con, right? And they talk it and they talk it. And at the end of the day, they never, ever deliver. And that is the exact same thing in this. And the fact that they continually ignore the 91 indictments that are pending against the former president, and they continue to say that there's nothing to see here when we could all see with our eyes. If for some reason we believe that national security and national secrets are a problematic thing, and he somehow was in possession of those items, it's a bigger issue than the president having a drug-addicted son who maybe had fishy dealings of some sort. But honestly, he's not even been charged for any of his business dealings at this point either. So, I mean, the leaps that they...
Like I said, Hunter Biden's business dealings, he did a lot of name dropping, and I'm not going to put it past him that he got that position due because of his name. But again, it's not illegal, and Joe Biden has to be looped in with that, right? So that's that. So that's her take on it, right? And the whole impeachment sham, scam, and all the other stuff. But since you want to talk about mamas, anyway, no. Since we want to talk about sons and things like that, right? Well, let's go to sons, but not necessarily sons. Let's go to son-in-laws. So here we have Jared Kushner, right? We also know Jared Kushner's post-White House $2 billion Saudi investment sparked ethical debate and Saudi skepticism due to so again, guys, all this is a deflection, right? I mean, they did the Hunter Biden thing a long time ago, right? But then again, they're doing the Trump administration is doing this behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Due to Kushner's inexperience and public relations risk, right? So he had $2 billion, Jared Kushner. So we talk about nepotism. All this is just basic nepotism, right? Hunter Biden never stood foot once in the White House. I'm saying safe to say because they did, they would have been a wrap. But here you have Ivanka Trump, Ivanka Trump's husband Jared Kushner, Don Jr., right? Eric Trump, all in the White House, sitting at the same table with generals, congressmen, Secretary of State, all of the generals, all of Wall Street there. You tell Republicans that, and it's like, oh, that's just okay. He's a smart businessman. Yeah, only been bankrupt several times and don't pay people back and do tax fraud. Okay, yeah, sure. Smart businessman, right? They don't pay his taxes, right? So The article right here says just months after leaving the White House in 2021, Jared Kushner secured a $2 billion investment from a Saudi crown prince left fund, despite objections from the fund's advisor about the deal. They don't care. The panel that screens investments for the Saudi sovereign wealth fund expressed concerns about Kushner's new private equity firm. So he created an equity firm, a shell company that they claim that Hunter Biden did and Joe Biden's doing. They're actually doing it. Their people are actually doing it, right? A private equity firm, Affinity Partners. According to the New York Times, they cited issues like the firm's inexperience, the possibility of the kingdom bearing most of the investment risk, unsatisfactory due diligence on the firm's operation, and excessive asset management fee and public relations risk due to Kushner's previous role as a senior advisor to President Trump. Kushner has no governmental experience. Trump just appointed him that. Why? Because that's my son-in-law, my daughter that I want to fuck, her husband. Yeah, that one, that daughter. Yeah, right? So that's pretty much it right there. So this is all over the place, right? You may say, well, oh, okay, I have another source. You may say it's an unbiased source, but I'm just trying to just get you guys to understand that this is something that's all over. You have some Republicans that are principled, few that are principled that are going to just be true to what is going on. They're not going to stick their head in the sand. So we got Chris Christie that used to be a Trump ally, but no longer is a Trump ally because, he didn't get a position. So he's running behind Trump, but he's truthful in what he is saying. So here we go.
The grift from this family is breathtaking. It's breathtaking. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Kushner walk out of the White House and months later get $2 billion from the Saudis. $2 billion from the Saudis. You think it's because he's some kind of investing genius? Or do you think it's because he was sitting next to the President of the United States for 4 years doing favors for the Saudis? That's your money. That's your money he stole and gave it to his family. You know what that makes us? A banana republic. That's what it makes us.
Yep. So
breaking news: an appeals
go.
court judge rejected.
So again, only and remember Chris Christie and forgot the other her name on the Republican debate stage when they asked who's going to vote for Donald Trump. All those fools raised their hands. You're running against Donald Trump, you cuckholes, you assholes. You're running against him. Why would you be endorsing someone who you're supposed to be running against? It's madness. It's complete madness. It's very maddening. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, again, there's this cultism, deep cultism in the Republican Party. Is just a cult, right? Like no one wants to be like. I kind of understand the optics. They say, "Oh, okay, I need to get those never Trumpers." I guess. I mean, I need to get those Trump supporters. I guess if I'm gonna, win re-election in my district or win the Republican nomination. I guess that's how they're thinking. So here's another one. News of Republicans turn on Jared Kushner. Right. So hold on. Let me refresh. So right here. House Republican accused Biden of corruption, but leaks memo presents no direct evidence. Right? So let's see what he has to say.
I think that what Kushner, and I've been vocal that I think that what Kushner did crossed the line of ethics. But what Christie said, it happened after he left office. Still no excuse, Jake, but it happened after he left office. And Jared Kushner actually has a legitimate business. This money from the Bidens happened while Joe Biden was vice president, while he was flying to those countries. He flew days after he left Romania. his family started receiving wires from a corrupt Romanian foreign national.
Again, nothing, nothing that they have proven. So at least he says, well, you know what, I don't agree with Jared Kushner doing that. That's not principled. Yada 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 yada. So at least he's honest in that regard. So what I'm gonna do right now, because this ran a whole lot longer than I expected it to, and I think I'm gonna do a second stream, probably in about 30 minutes, and so I can just break it up just to make it easier. And I think I'm gonna do that. Hopefully, I should be back. I think I got time. If not, I'll definitely be back, y'all. So remember to like, share, subscribe. For those that stay with me, that rocked out with me, I really do appreciate it. Like I said, I'm gonna try to see if I could come back like in about 30 minutes or so, just to break this up, get my ducks in a row, and we're gonna do the other half of this, and we're gonna go to what Brandon is saying, right? Him and Sean Hannity, and we're gonna see if they could overturn the truth, right? Because from my perspective, they're not presenting anything. Remember when we showed it there, they have all this mountain of proof. So let's see this mountain of proof goes up against the non-proof that we don't have, and let's see how it will turn out. It will be it will be very interesting to say the least. So again, thanks. Remember to like, share, subscribe, guys, and I'll be back. Hopefully you're enjoying your weekend. Hopefully you could join me in this last segment. Peace.